Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Abraham Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we've got something super exciting for all the collectors out there, an unassuming little coin that could be worth a fortune. We're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1984. It's a coin that you might have lying around in your collection, or even in your pocket right now, and you wouldn't believe the potential value it holds. Stick around until the end, because we're about to reveal just how much this 1-cent coin from 1984 is worth today. You won't want to miss this. Now, let's start with a little history. The 1984 1-cent coin was minted during a time when the U.S. economy was in a state of change. Ronald Reagan was in office, the country was experiencing economic growth, and people were looking to the future with optimism. The U.S. Mint produced billions of these coins in 1984 to meet the demand for smaller currency, but what's so special about this particular year? Why does it catch the attention of collectors today? It all comes down to rarity and condition. The vast majority of these 1984 pennies were circulated and spent in everyday transactions, but there's a small group of these coins that stand out from the rest. What sets them apart? It's their minting quality. Some 1984 1-cent coins were produced with tiny, almost undetectable errors, making them extremely rare and valuable to collectors. So, what kind of errors are we talking about? Well, one of the most sought-after variations involves the famous double die error. This happens when the die used to stamp the image onto the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, causing the design to be imprinted twice. The result is a coin that looks like it has a double image of the year or other parts of the design. These errors are incredibly rare, and finding one in pristine condition is even rarer. What makes these 1984 pennies so much more valuable is their scarcity in uncirculated condition. While most of them were heavily circulated and are found with visible wear and tear, a small percentage survived in near-perfect form, often due to being stored away by collectors. Coins in this pristine state can fetch a high price, as collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved examples from particular years. But wait, there's more. Beyond just minting errors, these 1984 pennies also have a certain appeal because of the historical context they represent. When you hold one of these coins, you're not just looking at a piece of currency, you're holding a piece of history, a snapshot of a specific time in U.S. history. For collectors, that's a big deal. It's a reminder of the changes, challenges, and triumphs that the country went through in the 1980s. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you're lucky enough to have a 1984 1-cent coin with one of these rare errors, or if you've managed to find one in mint condition, hold on to it tight because it could be worth as much as $52,000, that's right, $52,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something so small could hold so much value, but for serious coin collectors, this rare find could be a real treasure. So, if you've got a stash of coins from the 1980s, make sure to check your 1-cent coins. You might just be sitting on a small fortune. Top 2. We've got a real gem of a coin to talk about, the United States 1-cent coin from 1985. It may look like just another penny, but trust me, this little guy could be hiding a value that will blow your mind. Stick around, because in just a few moments, we're going to reveal how much this 1985 penny could actually be worth today. You're not going to want to miss this. Now, let's take a quick step back in time. The year is 1985. The U.S. economy is in the middle of a recovery phase under President Ronald Reagan's leadership. People are feeling the optimism of the 80s, and the U.S. Mint is busy producing coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. So, why is the 1985 1-cent coin catching the eye of collectors now, decades later? The key is rarity. Over the years, billions of pennies have been minted, but only a tiny fraction of those coins remain in perfect condition. Most of the 1985 pennies you'll find are worn out from years of being in circulation. But here's where it gets interesting. there's a very specific group of 1985 pennies that stand out because of their rarity and, in some cases, their unique characteristics. One of the most intriguing aspects of these coins is the possibility of minting errors. These errors are a goldmine for collectors because they make a coin unique and more valuable. For the 1985 1 cent, there's something called the double die error, which occurs when the design is stamped onto the coin more than once. This can cause parts of the design, like the year or other details, to appear slightly blurry or doubled. These error coins are highly sought after, and they're worth a lot more than a standard penny, but even beyond errors, the condition of the coin matters. A well-preserved 1985 penny that hasn't been worn down by circulation can be a real find. Most of these pennies were used in everyday transactions, so to find one that's in mint or near mint condition is rare. When a penny survives all these years without losing its shine or showing significant signs of wear, it's something special. Now, here's the kicker. If you've managed to get your hands on one of these rare 1985 pennies, whether it's a coin with a double die error or just a pristine specimen, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Are you ready for this? A 1985 1 cent coin in exceptional condition or with a minting error could be worth as much as $50,000. That's right, $50,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a simple coin from 1985 could be worth such a staggering amount. So, the next time you're sorting through your spare change or going through old coins, take a second look at those 1985 pennies. You just might have a rare treasure on your hands. Top 3, we're diving into a coin that's probably hiding in your collection right now, and it could be worth way more than you think. I'm talking about the United States 1 cent coin from 1978. At first glance, this little penny might seem like just another ordinary coin, but trust me, it's anything but ordinary. Stick around, because in just a few minutes, we'll reveal how much this 1978 penny could actually be worth today. You won't believe your eyes. Let's set the stage. 1978. The US was going through a time of economic recovery, following some challenging years earlier in the decade. The dollar was strong, and inflation was beginning to stabilize. The US Mint was busy cranking out coins to keep up with the demand for small change. But here's the thing, while most of the 1978 pennies were used in everyday transactions and have long since worn down, there's a rare group of these pennies that are incredibly valuable, and not just for their historical significance. What makes the 1978 1 cent coin so valuable today? It all boils down to rarity, condition, and some rare minting errors. Most of the pennies from this year were circulated heavily, so they tend to show a lot of wear. But if you're lucky enough to find a 1978 penny in mint condition, you could have something special on your hands. The condition of the coin really matters. Coins that are well preserved or uncirculated are always worth more, because they haven't suffered the wear and tear that most coins experience. But that's not all. Some 1978 pennies have an even rarer characteristic: minting errors. One of the most sought-after errors in the coin world is the double die error. This happens when the die used to stamp the image onto the coin shifts slightly during the minting process. The result? A coin with a doubled or blurry design, often seen on the date or lettering. Double die error coins are a big deal for collectors, and they can command a serious premium in the market. Now, let's talk about what this means for you. If you've got a 1978 penny and it's in pristine condition, or if you've discovered one with a minting error, you could be holding a rare treasure worth a lot of money. Ready for the big reveal? A 1978 1 cent coin with these characteristics could be worth as much as $67,000, yes, you heard that right, $67,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that something so small could carry such a hefty price tag, but for collectors, it's all about rarity, condition, and those rare errors that make a coin stand out. So, if you've got a stash of coins from the late 70s or you're out shopping for some pocket change, keep an eye out for that 1978 penny. It might just be the jackpot you've been looking for. Top 4, we're talking about a coin that might be sitting in your collection or even in your spare change jar right now, the United States 1-cent coin from 1974. It may seem like just another penny, but this little coin could be worth a whole lot more than you ever imagined. Stick around, because you won't believe how much this 1974 penny could be worth today. Let's take a quick trip back in time to 1974. The United States was in the middle of some major changes, economically and politically. Gerald Ford had just stepped into the presidency after Richard Nixon's resignation, and the country was facing inflation and a tough economic climate. The U.S. Mint was busy cranking out coins to keep up with the demand for currency, including the ever-popular 1-cent coin. Fast forward to today, and these 1974 pennies have turned into one of the most sought-after coins for collectors. So, what makes the 1974 1-cent coin so special, and why is it catching the attention of collectors? It all comes down to rarity and condition. Most of the 1974 pennies you'll come across have been in circulation for years and have suffered the typical wear and tear. But there's a small percentage of these coins that have survived in exceptional condition, whether due to being stored away by collectors or just by sheer luck of being kept in pristine condition. But that's not all. There's also the chance that your 1974 penny could have a rare minting error, which can make it worth much more than a regular coin. One of the most valuable errors in this series is the famous double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts during the minting process, creating a doubled or blurry image. The result? A coin with a doubled design, often seen on the year or the lettering. These kinds of minting errors are extremely rare, and they can make a penny from 1974 worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. Now, let's talk about the big question: how much could your 1974 penny actually be worth? If you have a 1974 1-cent coin that is in uncirculated condition or has a minting error like the double die, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Are you ready for it? That little penny could be worth as much as $69,000, yes, that's right, $69,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin from 1974 could fetch such a high price, but when you factor in its rarity, the condition, and any potential errors, it starts to make sense. So, if you've got a stash of old pennies, or if you're out looking through change, don't forget to keep an eye out for those 1974 pennies. They could be worth a lot more than you think. Top 5. We've got a very special coin to talk about, the United States 1-cent coin from 1976. Now, you might think a 1976 penny is just another piece of change, but trust me, this little coin might just be more valuable than you could ever imagine. Stick with us until the end, because we're about to reveal just how much this penny could be worth today. You won't want to miss this. Let's take a quick look back at 1976. America was celebrating its bicentennial, marking 200 years of independence. The country was in a festive mood, and the U.S. Mint was working overtime to commemorate the event. In fact, special bicentennial designs were put on the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins. But here's the twist: 1976 also saw the release of a standard 1-cent coin, and while it may not have the flashy bicentennial design, it's a coin that's become highly sought after by collectors today. So, what makes the 1976 1-cent coin stand out? The key is rarity and condition. Most of the 1976 pennies that were minted have seen their fair share of circulation, which means they've been worn down over the years. But here's the thing: finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is incredibly rare, and that's where the value starts to skyrocket. Coins that are in mint condition or nearly perfect are highly prized by collectors, as they're harder and harder to come by, but that's not the only factor that makes the 1976 penny so interesting. There's also a chance you could find one with a minting error. Minting errors are like the holy grail for coin collectors. They happen when something goes wrong during the production process, making the coin unique. One of the most valuable errors for the 1976 penny is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, causing a double image to appear on the design. A double date or lettering on the coin is a clear sign of this error, and coins with this feature can be worth a lot more than their face value. Now, let's talk numbers. If you happen to find a 1976 penny in uncirculated condition, or even better, a rare double die error penny, you could be looking at a serious payout. Are you ready for this? A 1976 1-cent coin in pristine condition or with a minting error could be worth as much as $67,000, yes, that's right, $67,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing to think that a small coin from 1976 could carry such a hefty price tag, but when you consider the rarity and the condition, it all adds up. So, if you've got some 1976 pennies in your collection or you're out looking through your spare change, make sure to give them a close look, you might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Top 6, we've got a real treat for you, a coin that you probably see all the time, but might not realize could be worth a small fortune. We're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1982. It may seem like just another penny, but there's something special about this particular year that makes it one of the most interesting and valuable coins around. Stick with us, because we're going to reveal just how much this 1982 penny could actually be worth today. Trust me, you won't believe it. Let's rewind to 1982. The US economy was undergoing some changes. The penny, as we know it today, was about to see a big shift in its composition. Up until that point, pennies were made of 95% copper, but in 1982, the US Mint made a huge change, reducing the copper content to just 97.5% zinc and only a small coating of copper. This change was primarily due to the rising cost of copper. So, 1982 is a key year in the history of the penny, and that's where things start to get interesting. What makes the 1982 penny special isn't just the historical shift in its metal composition. It's the fact that there are two distinct versions of the coin from this year. That's right, two different types of 1982 pennies were made, one is the old copper variety, and the other is the newer, zinc-based variety. The tricky part? They're nearly identical in appearance, so it can be tough to tell the difference just by looking at them. But if you've got the right one, you could be sitting on a hidden treasure. The copper 1982 pennies, which were produced before the switch to zinc, are much rarer than their zinc counterparts. And because of their rarity, they can be worth much more to collectors. If you're lucky enough to find a 1982 copper penny, especially in uncirculated condition, it could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. But that's not all. There's another factor that makes these 1982 pennies even more valuable. Minting errors. Some of these 1982 pennies were struck with errors during the minting process. One of the most sought-after mistakes is the double die error, where the design is stamped onto the coin more than once, creating a blurry or doubled image. These error coins are like gold for collectors, and they can make your 1982 penny worth significantly more. Now, the big question, how much could your 1982 penny actually be worth? Well, if you've got a copper version of the coin in excellent condition or even one with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a value that's far beyond its face value. Are you ready for this? A 1982 1-cent coin in top-notch condition, or one with a minting error, could be worth as much as $60,000, yes, that's right, $60,000 for a single penny. It's amazing to think that a coin from 1982 could carry such a hefty price tag, but the rarity and the potential for errors make it a real gem for collectors. So, if you've got some 1982 pennies lying around, be sure to take a closer look. You might have a rare treasure on your hands. Top 7, we're going to be talking about a penny that might be sitting in your collection right now, a United States 1-cent coin from 1971. At first glance, it may just seem like another regular penny, but trust me, this one's got a surprising secret. Stick with us, because you're about to find out just how much this 1971 penny could be worth today. You're going to be shocked, so let's take a quick step back in time to 1971. The US was in the midst of an economic transformation. The country had recently abandoned the gold standard, and the dollar was going through some changes. As for the penny, it was still made primarily from copper and had the classic Lincoln design, which we still see today. The US Mint was busy producing these coins to keep up with demand, and billions of them were minted in 1971. However, what makes this year special is the condition and rarity of certain 1971 pennies, especially those in uncirculated or near-perfect condition. The majority of 1971 pennies were circulated, so finding one that's still in pristine condition is extremely rare. Most of these pennies have been through the grind of daily transactions, which means they've got wear and tear. But for collectors, a 1971 penny that has survived all these years without showing any signs of damage is a real treasure. The better the condition, the higher the value, and that's where the magic happens. But here's where things get even more interesting. Some 1971 pennies were minted with errors, which is a huge deal for collectors. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process, and these mistakes can make a coin much more valuable. One of the most common errors in the 1971 pennies is the double die error, where the design is imprinted more than once, causing a doubled or blurry effect on the coin. These error coins are incredibly rare, and when they're found, they're worth a lot more than a typical penny. Now, you're probably wondering, how much could your 1971 penny actually be worth? Well, if you've got an uncirculated 1971 penny, or one with a minting error like a double die, you could be sitting on something pretty valuable. Are you ready for the jaw-dropping reveal? A 1971 1-cent coin in top condition, or with a rare minting error, could be worth as much as $69,000, yes, you heard that right, $69,000 for a single penny. It's amazing to think that a coin from 1971, which seems so ordinary, could have such a massive value, but it's all about rarity, condition, and those sought-after minting errors. So, if you've got any 1971 pennies hanging around, take a moment to check them out. You might have a hidden gem on your hands. Top 8. We're diving into a coin that might be sitting in your collection or even in your pocket right now, the United States 1-cent coin from 1980. At first glance, it might look like just another penny, but this particular coin has a surprising story and value behind it. Stick around, because in a few moments, you'll find out exactly how much this 1980 penny could be worth today. You won't believe your eyes. Let's take a quick trip back to 1980. The US was navigating a tough economic period, dealing with high inflation and the early stages of the recession. Meanwhile, the US Mint was busy producing tons of pennies to meet the demand for everyday transactions. While most of the 1980 pennies were used in daily life, it's the ones that survived in excellent condition that are now highly prized by collectors. What makes the 1981 cent coin so special? It all comes down to condition and rarity. Most of the pennies minted in 1980 have been in circulation for years, meaning they've gone through a lot of wear and tear. But finding a 1980 penny that's still in mint or near mint condition is incredibly rare. These pristine coins are highly sought after by collectors, as they're hard to come by in such great shape, but that's not all. There's something else that can make your 1980 penny worth a lot more: minting errors. These errors are like gold for coin collectors. They happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, and they create a coin that's unique and valuable. For the 1980 penny, one of the most sought-after errors is the double die error. This happens when the design is stamped onto the coin more than once, causing a doubled or blurry effect on the lettering or numbers. If you happen to have a 1980 penny with this error, you've got something that could fetch a much higher price. Now, let's get to the exciting part. How much could your 1980 penny actually be worth? If you've got an uncirculated 1980 penny, or one with a rare minting error, you might just have a small fortune on your hands. Ready for the big reveal? A 1981 cent coin in excellent condition, or one with a minting error, could be worth as much as $59,000, yes, you heard that right, $59,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that something as simple as a penny from 1980 could be worth so much. But when you factor in rarity, condition, and minting errors, the value starts to make sense. So, if you've got any 1980 pennies lying around, take a close look. You might have a hidden treasure just waiting to be discovered. Top 9, we're about to talk about a coin that might be sitting right in your collection or even in your pocket, the United States 1-cent coin from 1979, specifically the 1979 D mint mark. At first glance, this might look like just another penny, but trust me, it's anything but ordinary. Stick around, because you're going to be blown away by how much this little coin could actually be worth. Let's take a quick trip back to 1979. The US was in the middle of the late 70s economic challenges, including high inflation and rising interest rates. The mint was working overtime to produce the nation's coins, and that's when the 1979 pennies were minted in huge numbers. Most of them have been in circulation for decades, worn down by daily transactions. But the ones that survived in pristine condition? Those are a different story. What makes the 1979 D penny stand out? It all comes down to two factors: rarity and condition. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, and many show obvious signs of wear. But the ones that have been carefully kept in excellent condition are incredibly rare. The more pristine the coin, the more valuable it becomes. If you've got a 1979 D penny that looks like it just came from the mint, you could be looking at a serious find, but here's where it gets even more interesting. Some 1979 D pennies were struck with minting errors, and these are what really get collectors excited. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, resulting in a coin that's unlike anything else. One of the most valuable errors to look out for on the 1979 D penny is the famous doubled die error. This occurs when the die used to stamp the coin shifts, causing a doubled or blurry effect on the design. This error is extremely rare, and if you find a 1979 D penny with this type of error, it could be worth much more than just 1 cent. So, how much could your 1979 D penny be worth? Well, if you happen to have one in uncirculated condition, or better yet, with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a goldmine. Ready for the big reveal? A 1979 D 1-cent coin in pristine condition, or one with a minting error, could be worth as much as $77,000, yes, you heard that correctly, $77,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a simple penny from 1979 could carry such a hefty price tag, but with rarity, condition, and those sought-after minting errors, it's no surprise that this coin has become one of the most valuable pennies around. So, the next time you're going through your collection or flipping through your change, take a second to check for that 1979 D penny. You never know, it might just be worth a small fortune. Top 10, today's video is going to blow your mind. We're talking about a coin that you might find in your collection or even in your pocket right now, the United States 1-cent coin from 1977. You probably think it's just another penny, but trust me, this little piece of history could be worth way more than you think. Stick around, because I'm about to reveal just how much this 1977 penny could be worth today. Let's rewind to 1977 for a second. It was a time of big changes in the US, politically and economically. The country was recovering from the turbulence of the 1970s, and inflation was a major concern. During this time, the US Mint was busy producing the coins we use every day, including the penny. The 1977 penny was part of the ongoing production of Lincoln cents, which were issued in large numbers. While the coin seemed ordinary back then, it's become much more valuable in recent years. So, what makes this penny so special? The key to the value of the 1977 penny lies in its rarity and condition. Most of the pennies from that year were circulated, meaning they've seen plenty of wear and tear over the decades. But here's the catch: finding a 1977 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is incredibly rare. Coins that have been well preserved, without any scratches or signs of heavy use, are worth much more to collectors. And, as time goes on, these mint condition coins become even harder to find, which increases their value even more. But that's not the only thing that can make your 1977 penny worth big bucks. Some of these pennies were struck with minting errors, and error coins are a huge deal in the world of coin collecting. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, resulting in a coin that's different from the norm. One of the most exciting errors you could find on a 1977 penny is the double die error. This happens when the die used to stamp the coin shifts slightly, causing the design to appear doubled or blurry. If you've got a 1977 penny with this type of error, you've got a valuable find on your hands. Now, let's get to the most exciting part. How much could your 1977 penny actually be worth? If you've got one that's in near-perfect condition or a rare minting error, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Are you ready for this? A 1977 1-cent coin in uncirculated condition, or with a minting error, could be worth as much as $79,000, that's right, $79,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something as small as a penny from 1977 could be worth so much, but when you consider how rare and valuable these coins have become, it starts to make sense. So, if you've got some 1977 pennies lying around, take a moment to check them out. They could be worth a lot more than you think. If you enjoyed today's video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.